This is the Barbados Today morning news for Thursday, November 28th. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary-Claire Williams. A backward step. That is how former MP Hamilton Lashley is describing requirements for Rastafarians to obtain a license to use marijuana for religious purposes. Debating the Sacramental Cannabis Bill 2019 in Parliament last week, Attorney General Dale Marshall said they will be allowed to grow their own marijuana for use at their place of worship. They must also seek an exempt permit if they wish to use the sacrament at any religious event away from the temple. But the Rastafarians are objecting to this requirement, and they are being supported by Lashley, who says that Barbados' laws are tighter than those being implemented in other islands.
But look what is happening in Trinidad. Interesting too, because Barbados has to take a look at what is happening in the region. In Trinidad, the prison warders in Trinidad is calling for the whole-scale legalization of cannabis. If you look at what is happening in St. Lucia, Antigua, the other islands in the Caribbean, you will find there's a far more liberal approach to what is being done in Barbados. Barbados seems to me as still, although we're an independent nation, still trying to hang on the old colonial values of the cannabis. We must have control of everything.
Tourism Minister Kerrie Symmonds says operators of Sandals Resorts International do not have forever to decide if they will go ahead with the stalled multi-million-dollar beaches project in Haywoods, St. Peter. And he has hinted that government could eventually decide to acquire the property for a new investor. Symmonds was responding to questions from reporters on Wednesday on the sidelines of a local investor conference at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre.
I think that common sense indicates that there must be a time frame. We can't go on this way forever, but it is clear that there is, notwithstanding the difficulties that Sandals has purported to have, the reality is that there is a tremendous amount of interest in the country. As I just indicated to the collection of investors there, we have expressions of interest, having cleared town planning stage already for there to be 1,300 new hotel rooms in Barbados within the course of the next two and a half years. The country is again attracting that level of interest. Sandals is but one operator.
Just 1 year after government imposed the levy on taxpayers to improve services at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Health Minister Jeffrey Bostic has hailed the move as a success. The 2.5% health services contribution levy has met the target of $4 million per month, but Bostic admits that more needs to be done to ensure that citizens recognize the benefits.
There's more to be done, and we have started that process because obviously, as we indicated, when we made some amendments to the QEH Act in Parliament, there were some management issues that had to be dealt with, and we are in the process of doing so. And also, there's some systemic issues in relation to warehouse storage, the procurement system, and other related matters at the QEH which have to be dealt with, and the board has already started the process, and I'm satisfied with what the board is doing in relation to those issues. And those issues, including training, will result in improvements to that particular department and that particular situation that we've been seeing occurring.
The renewable energy sector has a major role to play in revolutionizing business in Barbados and the Caribbean, but the region is lacking the statistics needed to boost the sector. That's according to the chief economist at the Caribbean Development Bank, Dr. Justin Ram. He commended Barbados for its ambitious goal to become 100% energy dependent by 2030. But he says data is needed for implementing development strategies. Dr. Ram was speaking on the sidelines of the Caribbean Renewable Energy Statistics Training Workshop on Wednesday. Uniformed groups taking part in this year's Independence Day Parade have been making final preparations ahead of the big day on Saturday. Yesterday, they held the formal dress rehearsal at Kensington Oval. This year's parade will be held under the theme 2020 We Gathering, United Against NCDs.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Craft Center. Kick off the weekend this Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight with loads of food, drinks, and entertainment. Get ready for Crop Over with the Rhythm Roots Street Parade. Party like it's Kadooman Day on the street around Pelican Village with costume reveler, music, and more. It's Festive Friday. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Village Center from 4 p.m. to midnight. Admission free.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
In news from the region, authorities in Trinidad will increase security at public hospitals after one patient was shot dead on a ward at the Port of Spain General Hospital. About 8:45 on Tuesday night, two men dressed as hospital workers approached the man's bed and fired several shots. The victim was being treated for stab wounds. Health Minister Terence Singh says a number of short and long-term measures will be put in place to protect patients and staff.
There has to be a shift in the way we manage the inflow and outflow of people and vehicles. So, for instance, we have agreed that people are going to have to wear name tags from now on, and that access is going to be limited to certain areas. We are looking at eventually the putting in of scanners. So we will shepherd people through scanners to make sure that things like guns aren't being brought into the premises.
On the international scene, the number of Britons registering to vote before a midnight deadline expired on Tuesday was up 31% compared to a similar period before the 2017 election. Data showed almost 4 million registrations ahead of the December 12 election. The outcome of the poll remains highly uncertain. It will determine how, when, and even whether Britain leaves the European Union. Prime Minister Boris Johnson's Conservatives are ahead in opinion polls, but 3 published so far this week have shown their lead narrowing. And that's news this morning, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook, and sign up for breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I am Maricla Williams. Good morning.